Hello, welcome in. Welcome to another episode of my weekly spirit boost. I'm Tammy Mastroberti, best-selling author of the book The Universe is Talking to You. Tap into signs and synchronicity to reveal magical moments every day. And I teach people how to communicate with the universe, to guide their life, to get answers, to find the help that they need to solve their problems. And today I want to come on here specifically because I wanted to talk about apologies from the other side. So, this came up for me this week. Honestly, I don't even remember why this came up for me this week, but something reminded me of it. And I decided that I wanted to come on here specifically and talk about this because it's such a beautiful and amazing thing. And I think so many of us have people, in our lives, either currently or who have passed, that maybe they don't treat us right. So maybe you had a mother or father that was abusive in some way, or another relative. Maybe there is a friend who passed who you did not end things well with, or there could be, there's so many things, so many people in life that treat us poorly. It could be a significant other, or an intimate partner, etc. And what I have found, and what I know to be true because I've seen it in my own life and I've seen it reported back to me from others, is that oftentimes our loved ones will try and come back and let us know they're aware, right? So maybe when they were here in their physical human form, they were not aware or they did not care in terms of what they did to us, or how they acted toward us, or their particular actions, and they didn't get it and they didn't understand it. But once they pass on, they can see things from a whole different perspective. So I know years ago, when I first read books by George Anderson, who's a medium, he talked about his experiences doing all of these readings for, I don't even know, my gosh, it's been over 30 years probably for him that he's been doing the work. And he talked about how he would hear from people, and my mother confirmed this in my reading, that once they passed on, they sort of went through this life review stage. And again, he talks about this in his books, and I think other mediums have talked about this in one form or another, where once we pass on, we sort of literally, it's almost like watching a movie of our life, and every action that we took, every relationship that we had sort of flashes before us, and you can feel how you made other people feel. You see the things that you did. And now that you're out of this human body and you're pure love and divine, energy, you see things from a very different perspective. And so what I have found is that after going through that, and again, my mother said that she went through her life review, and she learned things, and the higher souls that were there asked her questions about her life, and why she did certain things, why she didn't do certain things. And so what I have found is that a lot of the time, whether it's through a medium or through dreams, I find a big one through dreams, where a loved one will come back and will apologize. So I'm going to share a personal story with this, where it actually wasn't even a loved one, you guys. It was a boss, a former boss of mine. So, and then I'll share another story that I know of someone else who told me about a loved one coming in a dream. So for me, this was my second job, I think, out of college. I always worked in magazines. Right out of college, I got a job at a magazine because I was already working part-time while I was in college. And then I left that job and went to another one and was working at a magazine where I actually met one of the amazing art directors that I still work with now on my own work, and helped me when I had my magazine and all of that. And it was right after 9/11. So a lot of people were getting laid off. And my editor-in-chief for the magazines that I was working for got laid off. And so I got thrust into working for a totally new boss that was like above her. Like, I think he was the editorial director. And I was on track to become promoted to a managing editor at the time. And we, all of a sudden it was like, boom, they fired my editor in chief, and now here's this other guy that you're going to be working for, who I knew but didn't really have like a relationship with. And then all of a sudden he sort of decided, no, I didn't know anything about you getting promoted. We're not promoting you. And he like promoted some other person who had no qualifications, this guy, to the position that I was supposed to get. And I was like, what is happening? What is wrong with him? And honestly, to this day, I don't know if he just didn't like me because I was a woman, and I hate to say it, but I kind of felt like that. Or what his problem was with me particularly, but we just clashed, and he kind of tortured me there. And I would go into meetings, and for an example, this isn't how it worked, but just to give you an example of how it would work, I would say, like, I think this blue color is really the best color for whatever. And he would go, no way, it's definitely this yellow color. And I would be like, I don't know, I really think that this green color looks the best. And he would be like, it's yellow. And then this other guy who he promoted to managing editor would come in and go, oh, I like this blue color. And he'd go, yeah, I think we're going to do blue. Like, that's literally how it would work. It was horrible. But anyway, I got to the point where I could not take it anymore. I mean, he would purposely page me on a loudspeaker in the office when I was like on the phone or doing something. And instead of walking out, he would just continually page me to like let the whole office know he was looking for me. Like, and people would be like, Dennis, she's on the phone or whatever. Anyway, yeah, his name was Dennis. So anyway, it was a nightmare, and I left the job. I literally quit. I had no other job, you guys. I had nothing, but I was like, I can't, it's making me sick. I got to get out of this job. And so I left. And about a year later, I found out he had a heart attack and died. And I heard it through somebody that was still connected to that office, or connected to somebody in that office. And I thought, oh, wow, I can't believe that. And I remember going, like, I was going to a church service for something. I don't know if it was like a baptism, or I can't remember what I was going, but I remember I was with my sister, and I remember I lit a candle for him because I felt like, time had passed, whatever. Well, anyway, he really did have an effect on me and my confidence and my, I was always very confident in my work, and I guess it had a bigger effect on me than I thought. It really did. And everybody knew that he was torturing me. Like, I remember the associate publisher was like, please don't leave. Or the publisher was like, please don't leave. We know, everybody knows, blah, 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 blah. But nobody did anything about it. And so, and by the way, the universe did me a solid, because I wound up being able to collect unemployment even though I quit. And that was a whole strange form of events. And it worked out because this is what the universe does, what you need to do, and I needed to get out of there. Anyway, I digress. So, I would say maybe 6 months after he died, I have a dream. And in the dream, I was at a desk, and he was there looking at me in the dream. And he said to me, I just want you to know I'm really sorry for what I did. And I was like, oh, I was like, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And he was like, I was wrong, and I'm just really sorry for what I did to you. And then I woke up, and I was like, oh, and it was just the strangest thing, because I'd never had anything like that happen. And this wasn't even a relative, but I know that he knew at that point the effect that he had on me, and how it was so wrong what he did to me. And again, I still don't even know why he did it. I have no idea, because I was a good worker. I did what needed to be done. I was on track for a promotion. And I don't know, but he came back to apologize. And so it was just so powerful to me, because again, it wasn't like it was a relative, but obviously there must have been something in him that needed to come back, not just for him, but for me, to say, I see now. I'm so sorry. I don't know, I'm just so sorry. And it was so powerful to me. And another story I want to share of somebody that told me that they had a husband who was for years an alcoholic, and just put her through a lot. And he died, I believe it was suddenly, from a heart attack. And within, again, a couple of months after he passed, she had a dream where she was in bed, and in the dream he came up and stood at the edge of the bed, and she said to him, "What are you doing here? Oh my God, what are you doing here?" And he's like, I just want you to know I'm sorry." And she said then she woke up and she was like in shock, right? At like what is going on. And so I wanted to share that because if you are someone that maybe is carrying something with you, or, for a loved one who has passed on, just know, and this doesn't mean you have to, that what they did was okay. This doesn't mean that you have to be like, okay, I forgive everything and we can move on. And there are a lot of people, I'm friends with mediums who say that they'll be in a reading and somebody will come through and the person will say, I don't want to hear from them. And they have to let them go, right? And odds are that person is probably coming through to say, I know I'm an idiot. But it's up to you, right? You don't have to hear it. You don't have to accept it. That's totally your choice. But I find that they can see it from a whole other perspective and they realize it. And so if you are going through something now with someone maybe who hasn't passed, who hasn't treated you fairly, I always say, like, they'll realize it someday. When they get on the other side and they realize what they did, they'll know, right? And odds are they may want to apologize. They may want to come through. And I've seen it again and again. I'm just giving you an example from my life and one other example, but there's many examples of people who will come through to say, I didn't do the right thing by you. I didn't treat you the way I should have treated you. I've been in mediumship gallery readings with friends where somebody will come through and apologize and the person just cries. So apologies can happen from the other side, either through a medium or I find through dreams. And it's really just up to us. I just wanted to tell you this because I wanted you to know that their perspective on the other side is very different. And their perspective, once they get there, they're gonna see it. They're gonna know it. It's up to us to forgive and to let go, right? Whether we get that apology or not, let's be honest, even if the person is still alive and, we're not going to wait around forever, or, if they pass on, whatever. But even if that person is still alive, like it's everything sort of happens for a reason. Even someone who doesn't treat you well, even if you have a parent who didn't treat you well, there is a reason, I believe, that you chose them to learn certain lessons, to understand forgiveness, to be able to forgive. Forgiveness is so not about the other person. Forgiveness is so about yourself and setting yourself free and unburdening yourself from carrying those negative emotions that make you sick. It's like that saying, I think it was Buddha who said something, or I think it was a quote from Buddha where it was like, anger is like holding onto a rock, a hot rock, and burning yourself in the intent of hurting someone else. Like, I'm totally paraphrasing that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what resentment and anger and all of that stuff is that you carry. So I just think it's an amazing and beautiful thing when someone can come through from the other side, whether it's in a dream, whether it's from through a medium, and they say, like, I was so wrong and I regret this and I regret not being there for you, or I regret not doing right by you or treating you well, or what I did, and I see how it's affecting you now. Because not only can they see in their life review, and again, I know this based on so many mediums that I've interviewed, not only can they see and feel how you felt during that in that life review, but they can now see your life right now. They can see everything that you're doing right now. And so they can see the effect that what they've done may be still having on you, especially if it's a parent on the other side and they see you living your life, or they see you maybe carrying around hurt or patterns playing out in your life, and they know they're the root cause of it, right? So they want to come through and they want to tell you. So I just wanted to share that in case there is anybody out there who feels this, has some unresolved issues with someone who has passed on. Again, it's up to you whether you are open to it. I completely understand those people who go to a medium and someone will come through and they'll go, I don't want to hear from them. Like, I don't care what they say. It's too late, too bad, whatever. It's totally your prerogative. But I will tell you that it's not the same person. The person who's passed on and on the other side is no longer part of a human body. They have a whole different perspective. They're coming from a whole different vibration, a whole different energy. So when they're coming through to apologize, or they're coming through to help you in some way, it's not the same person you knew when you were here. And so maybe that will help you open up to it if you ever get the opportunity. I just see like questions coming in. Yes, somebody's saying, so forgiveness is for us, not them, but that doesn't mean we should let the people back into our lives. 100%. 100%. I'm not saying forgive and go back to a situation that wasn't good. Never, 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 never. If a person is still alive, you forgive, you let go, and you set boundaries, and you say, "But I'm done. Good luck. God bless." You know, I have a friend who used to always say to me, "Bless them and release them. Bless them and release them." It's like, God bless, I forgive, you go do you, and I'm releasing you, and I'm not, you know, that's not my thing anymore. So 100%, that's not what I'm saying about forgiveness. That's for somebody who, if you're forgiving them, obviously, and they're not passed on. But I'm specifically talking about these apologies from the other side because they're so powerful. And I've seen so many times where people break down and it's like they didn't even realize they needed to hear it. When my old boss came through to me, like I wasn't even thinking about it until he came through and he apologized, and I was like, I didn't even know I needed to hear it. I didn't even realize that I needed that or how that would help me or how that would affect me. Sometimes we don't know until it comes through, and then we're shocked and we're like, I didn't even think that was bothering me anymore, but the fact that that came through completely broke me open. So it's another tool, right? It's another tool. If you are suffering and you are holding on to something from a loved one who has passed on, um, allowing that in, you know, whether it is through a dream, whether it is through a medium, however it comes through, you know, just being open to allow that in, because again, the apology is not for them. They're apologizing to you for you, right? It's not like, okay, I forgive you, I'll let you off the hook for a lifetime of whatever. It's just, at least take the apology. At least take the apology and know that, man, this person is not the same person, and now they see. Now they finally get it. That's sort of what it's about. And that's why I love mediumship, and I love the fact that we can open ourselves up to communication from loved ones who have passed on, and that they can get through in dreams because we are at a different level of our consciousness. We're not blocking things as much as we are when we are awake and you know, in our fully awake normal consciousness. They can get through. And so I just wanted to share my perspective on the fact that, you know, it's not, they're not the same person, that they do see everything they did to you. You don't have to forgive, but it can be extremely powerful to hear from someone who's passed on and have them say to you, like, I was a jerk, like I was an idiot. I should have never done that. I was so wrong. I regret it. I am so sorry. You know, I love you. That's it. And it's so shocking, and it's so healing. It really, really can be healing. So whether you get that message from a loved one or not, at least know that if they are passed on, they know. Oh, they are very well aware of what they did, and they are very well aware of how it affected you then, and maybe is even still affecting you now. And if they have the opportunity, I'm sure they would try to get through. If you ever go to a medium and they do try to get through, again, it's up to you whether you want to hear it or not. You can stop that conversation at any point. But I just wanted to share that because I think it's a pretty powerful thing that we all sort of can experience. Hi, everybody on Facebook. I always forget to look. I'm like rambling and I forget to look on. Oh, Angela said, yes. Had a difficult mother relationship. She's passed 2 years ago. Yeah, I promise you she knows. She knows what she did. And if you are open to it, she can come through. Like I said, either through a dream or whatever. But sometimes they can't get through. If we're so angry, they know better than to try and get through, right? Or that anger and that resentment will even block them from coming through to be able to say, I'm sorry. I really didn't have anger and resentment against my boss at that point, right? I had let it go. I had moved on. I was in another job. I was working in New York City at that point, happy to have a better job. And he was able to get in. So if we have that anger and resentment, it's definitely harder for them to get through. Um, Hi, Mary Lou. Oh, somebody said, Karen said, I very recently had a dream like that. It's so incredible to me and it's so powerful. And usually they're very short and to the point that I find. It's not like a whole big lengthy conversation. Usually they pop in the dream and you're like, what's going on? And they're like, I'm sorry. And then that's it. And you're like, what? You know what I mean? Like it's sort of just like very to the point. Like, man, I just wanted to get here and say, I'm sorry. Um, Oh, Lori on Instagram is saying, my father came to me to apologize for not being there enough for me growing up. He is with me all the time now. Yes, this is what I'm saying. Like, they see it, right? They see it and they know. And so just know that in your heart, right? Even if you cannot forgive the person, just know in their heart they know. They know and they see it now. And maybe that can even give you some relief and help you in some way. And you can ask for that too, by the way. Like, I always say you can ask for signs, but you can ask, like, say, listen, if I'd like to forgive you, I'd like to move on, but I'd like to hear from you that you're aware of what's going on. So if you can come to me in a dream, if I ever have an opportunity to go to a medium, I'd like to hear from you. If you can send me a sign that you know that you're sorry, and just see what happens. You can open that door of communication as well. Um, yeah, it is true, Aura. Oh, they apologize and say they love you when they are dying. Yes, my father did this. Or after they have died through dreams. My mother did this and hugged me in a dream. Yes. And I have to say, I have a friend who's a medium who always says if you have a dream of a loved one and there's physical contact, it's a visitation automatically. It's not just it's definitely a visit. And I've had dreams like that where my mother came and hugged me and I was crying in the dream and I woke up crying and I knew it was her. So I love that. Oh, Lorraine, my father died 7 years ago and has never attempted to come to me to apologize. I have many issues now because of my upbringing. All I can tell you is I promise you, if you ever get a chance to go to a medium, tell him before you go, listen, I haven't forgiven you, but if you want to come through and acknowledge anything, I'm open to it. Um, because I promise you he knows now. He is so aware of what he did. Does that mean that they're always going to come through and apologize? No. Sometimes it's just enough to know that they're aware. They know what they did. They can see it all now. They see it from a whole different perspective. And just knowing that is like, now you really know. Now you know more than you could have ever known before, and you're aware of it. And I know that you know what you did. Um, it gives us a little bit of relief because sometimes it's so frustrating when you're in a fight with somebody and they cannot see what they're doing or they cannot see how they're affecting you. It's so frustrating. And this, I promise you, they see it now. I promise you, they see it now. Um, okay, here we go. Oh, Andrea is saying, what if the person that started the chain of trauma apologizes yet has created a chain of abuse that continues? Do they acknowledge their part and can they help change it? Yes. Not only can they acknowledge their part, but I guarantee you that if you call on them for help, to guide you to solutions, to guide you to the right things that can fix this, I promise you, I think that they would be there and that they would guide you just the same as if you asked, an archangel to help you. They can give you the ideas and they can pop things in your head and they can try and guide you to certain people or therapists or whatever. 100%. And you always can ask for help from anyone who has passed on. I always say this. It doesn't even have to be somebody that you knew in this physical life. If you are struggling with your mindset, call on Bob Proctor, who passed away recently. Call on Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich. You can call on anyone because we're all connected, we're all one on the other side, and you're not imposing. And you can call on your loved ones. You can totally call on your loved ones because they see things that you can't see. They see your future, they see where you're going, they see possibilities, they see all of these branches for you that you can't see. um yes. Yes, Karen, she exactly. It's like she wanted to make it up to you. Yes, they really do. Um, oh, somebody's saying my mom is more present in my life since she passed. We have a beautiful relationship now. Because it's not the same person. Like, it's the same person, but it's the same person minus all of those human qualities, right? So it's almost like you can have had a horrible relationship with someone when they were here, and then on the other side, it's a whole different experience because now it's just they're loving, all loving, unconditionally loving, guiding, beautiful self that is trying to help you, that is trying to guide you. I know someone who went to a medium and had a horrible relationship with her father, and you know, he came through and was like, listen, I'm trying, you know, I'm watched you do this, and I see you afraid, and I know that I contributed to that, and actually gave her, you know, things to look for to know he was around, and please just know that I'm trying to help you. And she was just like, this guy was a miserable human being, but it was just this whole different perspective that was coming through. So yes, you can have a completely different relationship with someone after they've passed because it's all love, right? It's all happiness, and it's just a different, it's the same person but a better version. That's the best way to say that. Same person, better version. Um so anyway, if you are looking for something like that, if you are struggling with something like that, or someone who has passed on, you know, maybe think about talking to them, asking them to you know, say, listen, if you, I'd love to know that you're aware of everything that you did, or that you know, that you would like to apologize. You know, can you get through to me in some way? And just allow them to be creative and find a way to get through. Dreams are amazing. Um, oh, Jerry says, I think it's easy to say, not sure if I believe it. You have to have it happen to you to believe it, like I said. And so asking for it. I try to share these stories because it's not just me. I just shared a couple of other stories of people who have gone through this and are so surprised. And if you go to any mediumship gallery reading and just listen to the readings, I guarantee you one person at the end of that, before the end of that night, will be apologizing for something from the other side. It's their amazing opportunity to say, oh my God, I was such a jerk. I can't, I'm so sorry. Like, please know that I see this now. And I mean, how good does it feel, even if the person's still alive, when someone comes to you and says, like, oh my God, I realized I was such an idiot. Like, I can't believe I did this, and I was so wrong, and there's no excuse for it, and I'm so sorry. Like, there's something in you that shifts from that, right? And so it's that same thing, even if the person has passed on, because it's still them. They still know, but now it's supercharged them because they see things and know things and have felt what you have felt, and they're coming at it from such a different perspective. um you're welcome, Angela. So yes, hurt people 100%. And so anyway, this came up for me for some reason. I don't even remember why it came up for me, but maybe spirit planted it in my head. I don't know. But I just wanted to come on here and share that because I think that a lot of people are carrying burdens from the past. And I just wanted you to know that your loved ones on the other side are aware, and that if they get the opportunity, you know, nine and a half times out of 10, they will take it to let you know that they're aware and that they're sorry. And it just gives you a different perspective, even in life. I have found, you know, when someone does something to me, or when somebody else says, like, how can somebody do this? How do they not see it? And in the back of my mind, I always think, like, they'll see it someday, like they'll get it someday. And that's their lesson to learn, right? That's their lesson to learn. And sometimes they won't learn that lesson until they get to the other side, and then finally leave that humanness behind, and then they get it and they see it. Sometimes they don't get it until then, but that's their lesson and that's their situation. And so, you know, I think it applies to those of us who are going through stuff with people who are still living as well, just to sort of shift that perspective. Like, you know, maybe they don't see it now, but someday they'll get it. And I always think of that, you know, it'll always pop in my mind at some point, and I think someday they'll see it, or someday they'll get it, but it's their lesson to learn, and it's their thing to figure out. You're welcome, Susan. Yes, sometimes we have to accept the apology that isn't given. That's why I'm saying to you, even if you don't get the apology, I wanted to share this with you because I wanted you to know that I promise you they are aware on the other side of what they did, of how you felt, of how it's playing out in your life right now. They are aware of it. So even if you don't get the apology, maybe on some level you can feel that comfort of knowing now they know. Now they can finally see it. They can't run from it. They can't hide. They can't escape it. There's no denial. They see it and they know. That alone can provide like some relief at times. So what, oh wait, Jerry is saying, so what do you do when you ask them on the other side? You mean if you ask them for, to let you know that they're aware, to let you know that there's an apology, you know, that they're sorry for what they did. You can just say, you know, find a way to get me a sign, and you may be walking somewhere and see "I'm sorry" written on the ground in chalk. Or, I mean, this is how it works. You may go onto Facebook and see, sometimes we just have to apologize or something, and you'll go, oh my God, you know, like you can't believe it. They have ways to get through to you, right? Again, dreams, if you do go to a medium, something like that. But yes, okay, you get it, right? So if you ask, they'll find a way to get through, and all of a sudden you'll go, oh my God, you know, or like, let's say you're asking for an apology from your father, and then you see some kind of a meme with a father and a daughter that says, you know, whatever, and you go, oh my God, you know. So there's ways for them to get through. So if you really want it, and you can definitely ask for it. Songs on the radio too. Yes, Mary Lou. Oh my gosh, thank you for reminding me of that. You could ask for an apology and there could be a song on the radio from a father singing to a daughter, or, you know, something that makes you think, "Oh my gosh, this is it," right? So they 100% can use songs on the radio. 100%. My mother does that all the time. Any good mediums I could recommend? Jerry, there's a bunch. There's a bunch that I love. And I think I've recommended some on here before, but I'll give you the rundown really fast. So I always recommend people to someone named Geri Carabin, or Carabin. I always say her name wrong, Jerry, I'm sorry. Her name is GeriKarabin. And you can go to her website. She does animal communication, psychic reading, and mediumship. I always have her come and do readings for our paid membership community. I do quarterly intuitive calls with them where they can get readings, and Jerry is always a favorite. So I recommend her. I recommend someone named Jennifer Flynn. So it's Jennifer, Flynn, and her website, I think, is jenniferflynnmedium.com. I believe she's booked right now through September, because I was recently checking for somebody. But she does virtual. Jerry does virtual as well. I think she has more openings. And then another one that I recommend, but he is very booked out, but I highly recommend also, his name is Anthony Maraca, Mrocka, Anthony. So it's anthonymaraca.com. He's booked like 9 months or more out. But again, he does virtual, Zoom or telephone. So those are three that, oh, I'm so sorry to hear somebody, who was it? Somebody's young nephew just passed. I can't see who it is. I just saw Lorraine say she was sorry. I'm very sorry for your, oh, it's the worst when someone young passes away. So anyway, those are three mediums that I can recommend because I have personal experience with them and I know that they're very good. So anyway, thank you for asking. That is, hopefully that is helpful to you, and one of them can be helpful to you. So anyway, all right, thank you all for being here with me. I always hope something that I said boosts you. That's why I call this your weekly spirit boost. I try to give you something to elevate you before the weekend, before you're moving into, hopefully relaxation, but sometimes craziness. And so I hope that this gives you a boost to your spirit, gives your spirit a boost. I thank you all for being here and participating in your questions. You guys are always amazing. And I will be back here again, of course, next week on Thursday, live at noon Eastern for another weekly spirit boost. If you ever have any questions, please drop them in the comments or send me a direct message and say, listen, I'd love for you to talk about X, Y, and Z, or I have a question about this in my life, and I'm happy to do it. If you're watching this on Facebook, please like, comment, or share so this video gets out to more people. If you're watching it on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. And sending love to you all, sending elevation and blessings to you all, and forgiveness. Love to you all. Bye, everybody.